Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda, and please welcome to our Operation Freedom platform, WeThePeopleProcessing.com. You know, are you tired of being threatened to be canceled just because you have a company focused on liberty and freedom? Well, worry no more, folks. WeThePeopleProcessing.com is your go-to merchant services, freedom-based company to provide business service payment solutions. We the People Processing provides their clients a cancel culture-free platform which is domestically based. They provide competitive rates, no contracts with next-day funding, a fully vetted and like-minded financial infrastructure, and full support for integrations, implementation, and e-commerce efforts. Bottom line, WeThePeopleProcessing.com focuses on defending your company's free market growth, values, and future. Check them out at www.WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Once you're on the site, enter in password Operation Freedom or call 855-499-2024. That's WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Then, when on the website, enter Operation Freedom as your password or call 855-499-2024.
Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
Can you state
She's
categorically?
asking a question.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a
question.
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Dave Vs The MSM. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. We are available 24/7 at davejanda.com with extra shows, extra content, extra guests, extra information. Listen, you can stream the radio show out of Operation Freedom Radio Show out of the People's Republic of Ann Arbor and Wham Talk 1600's Freedom Bunker every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern. It's live and it's free. Go to davejanda.com, hit the listen live button, you're with us. In addition, we are available 24/7 at davejanda.com. Tremendous amount of free information there. Plus, there's our subscription content at 30 cents a day, the biggest bang for the buck in all of the internet. Information that goes into great depth and puts you not just months, but years ahead of the curve. 30 cents a day for priceless information. I assure you, it is worth your time and your effort and your money. And it's incredibly reasonably priced. I hope you'll become part of our freedom family. It will make a positive difference in your life. That's not hyperbole. That's not an overstatement. That's what each and every one of our subscribers has told us over the years. I want to talk about an issue that we have focused on since the inception of our Operation Freedom Radio Show in October 2010, and that's your economic and financial freedom. The title of today's presentation is The Globalist Willful, underline the word willful economic pain formula. Why do I mention pain? Because recently there was this big globalist confab meeting that they have every year in the Grand Tetons in Wyoming. And the Jackson Hole meeting. And they have all the federal bankers there, all the globalist syndicate players. And the head of the Fed, and remember, the Federal Reserve is an independent group of bankers that are solely focused on themselves. Everybody, not everybody, you don't, but the majority of people you know assume that the Federal Reserve is part of the federal government. It's not. It's like Federal Express. Federal's in the name, but it has nothing to do with the government. But that's the marketing that they have implemented since 1913, when it went into existence, when Woodrow Wilson, globalist extraordinaire, pushed it through on the dead of the night on Christmas Eve. And that's when our money supply and our money printing capabilities were turned over to the group of bankers, and that's when our country took a huge hit for freedom across the board. And it's only gotten worse. The Federal Reserve is not a part of the legislative, judicial, or executive branches. They're a cartel, a banking cartel, that is stripping you of your freedom and liberty. Since the Federal Reserve took over the money capability, printing capabilities in our country, and the money creation capabilities in 1913, the dollar has depreciated by 99%. That's not coincidental. That's not incompetence. It's willful. And now, Powell at this meeting, this big meeting they just had, said that pain's ahead for Americans. This from Jim Hoft. Failed Fed Chairman Jerome Powell sinks stock markets. Promises pain ahead for American household and businesses. You mean you haven't had enough pain paying $5 a gallon for gas? That you haven't had enough pain with a 40% increase in the price of some foodstuffs, including eggs, over the past year? That you haven't had enough pain with rents skyrocketing, with taxes skyrocketing, with everything you purchase skyrocketing, with your wages not skyrocketing? He doesn't think you've been in enough pain. And like every globalist does, they always tell us when they're about to flush the toilet while we're in the shower. And he told you. Promises pain ahead for American households and businesses. People are struggling to an enormous degree at this point. They can't even hide it in their fake government data. U.S. service sector collapses this past month. U.S. composite weaker than actually in Europe. You hear about how bad Europe is. The U.S. data is even worse. U.S. services producer manufacturing index collapsed this past month. The U.S. manufacturing service also slowed more than expected. Services are at their lowest since May of 2020. Manufacturing's at its lowest since July of 2020. And they're telling you the economy's great. There's no recession. There's no problem. That's a figment of your imagination. These are the same people that told you lockdowns were great, social distancing was great, mask work. They told you that this was effective. And now what did their CDC come out and say? Oh, that was BS. No, all those people that were talking about this for a couple years that we censored and we slandered and libeled, like McCullough, like Zev Zelenko, God rest his soul, Dr. Lee Merritt, Dr. Richard Orso, Dr. Ryan Cole, myself, just to name a few. And there were too few of us, by the way, saying this. All of us that were saying, we were the bad guys. We were the conspiracy theorists. We were the ones that were, we were the ones that were 110% right and accurate across the board. And the same people that were saying the exact opposite of what we were telling you to empower you are now telling you there's no recession, there's no economic downturn, everything's perfect, it's all in your noggin. U.S. home sales crashed this past month, lowest since 2016. And remember, the globalists are intent on this, quote, great reset. Okay? This great reset is about resetting the financial landscape of the world. The whole Russia-Ukraine thing was supposed to be the spark that kicked off this great reset. And Soros and Schwab, middle-level puppet, not higher-end puppet, middle-level puppet of the syndicate. Remember, the highest echelon in the syndicate are the banking families, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Lazards, the Pinkuses, the Warburgs, the Seifs, the Loebs. And at the very top of that pyramid are the Payseur family, Payseur. Well, I've never really heard much of them, Dave. Well, if you've been listening to me, you have. Because you know why? You know why no one else talks about that family and that group? Because the blowback you got every time, believe me, the blowback you take every time this is enormous. And very few of us are willing to accept that blowback and take it and dish it back out. Their goal right now is to destroy the dollar. Take it down. New reserve currency of the world. Schwab and Soros want a basket, something called SDR, special drawing rights, of which there's a basket of the currencies that the bankers control. The problem is Putin and Xi got together, and I've told you this for many months, and said, they want us to start all these wars, and then we're not going to get anything out of this. Putin and Xi go, let's us run this reset. Let's have the ruble and the yuan, and let's back the new reserve currencies, the ruble and the yuan, with gold and silver and oil and natural gas and hard assets. And that's the war that's occurring right now between one globalist faction and two others that many people always associated with the globalists, which they were, but they just splintered off. And they're pulling other countries with them. Such as who? How about someone called the BRICS countries? Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa. What do all those countries have in common? Natural resources. The same natural resources that are going to back that new reserve currency. Makes sense now? Russia and India no longer need the US dollar, according to the BRICS president. Russia and India don't need the US dollar in trade, having turned to national currencies to conduct mutual settlements. BRICS International Forum President Purnima Anand told reporters recently, "We have implemented the mechanism of mutual settlements in rubles and rupees, and there is no need for our countries to use the dollar in mutual settlements. And today, a similar mechanism of mutual settlements in rubles and yuan is being developed by China." There you go. And I told you this months ago. And many people said to me, "That's conspiracy theory, Dave." Might be conspiracy. It's conspiracy, reality, and fact. Milton Friedman, who won the Nobel Prize many years ago in economics, said, "Inflation is a product of too many created dollars." And who does that creation? Federal Reserve, the banking family, because they got control of that since 1913, which is why the dollar has depreciated so much over the past 109, 110 years. Okay. Milton Friedman said, it's too many dollars that have been created chasing too few goods. I just told you the data that showed that the service sector, the manufacturing sector, is plummeting. In other words, fewer goods are being produced. But I also told you about the fact that prices are going through the roof. We are in a stagflationary environment. Why we are in this inflationary environment is because of the huge amount of funny money that was created over many years' time, and in particular over the past 3 years' time with the COVID situation and ongoing government stimulus to produce more, to create more money. And the latest version of that is Biden's student loan deal, right? They came out and they said, oh, this isn't going to increase inflation. Well, wait a minute. There's independent assessment that this is going to increase the money supply by minimum $300 billion and up to $1 trillion. How can you not create that much money and not create more inflation? No, you will. But that's part of it. You see, this whole takedown is not accidental. That's not incompetence, this student loan thing. It's a willful takedown of the system because they are all middle-level puppets of the banking families that I told you about earlier that nobody else really wants to talk about. Biden announces student loan relief, which will mostly benefit top earners. This is from Zero Hedge. Biden announced the cancellation of up to $10,000 in student debt for millions of American borrowers who earn less than $125,000 per year and $20,000 in debt for Pell Grant recipients. The administration will also pause student loan payments for 4 more months through the end of December. The plan will cost between $300 billion and $1 trillion. The majority of the relief will go to borrowers in the top 60% of earners, according to analysis by the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business. According to Goldman Sachs, no less, it's a middle and upper class handout. The Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal, understand, both entities, tentacles of the criminal banking syndicate, okay? of the deep state, the New World Order crowd, the totalitarian thugs, whatever you want to call it. They're all the same. Abuse of power. Washington Post and Wall Street Journal slam Biden student loan handout. Penn Wharton sees $1 trillion cost to the program. The Washington Post and Wall Street Journal editorial boards independently wrote about what a stupid idea it is. Not just stupid. It's willful implosion of the economy. If they both think something is a mistake, it probably is pretty bad. Yeah, that according to Zero Hedge. Yeah, it is pretty bad. It's more than pretty bad. And part of that, remember that $750 billion, another, the Inflation Reduction Act that I call the Inflation Production Act, $750 billion. Yeah, it's bad enough that $80 billion goes to hire 87,000 new IRS agents. They care about you. Yeah. But it's a creation of $750 billion more money. And a huge amount of that money, like 99% of it, is wasteful. And your taxes, part of that deal, is your taxes are going up. It doesn't matter what income level you are, they're going up. So Biden and his crew, the globalists, they don't think you pay enough taxes. They won't be happy until you pay everything to them in taxes. That's a fact. But some of this tax money, Biden, his crew have sent over $65 billion, with a B, billion to Ukraine since February 24th, 2022, of your taxpayer money. $65 billion. Meanwhile, we have baby food shortages in this country. We have a wall that's a sieve in the southern, where it's just streaming across, right? We have supply chain problems. We have gas. They're cutting down on the leasing and the drilling. We have vets that serve serve in our country, that are homeless. We have hundreds of thousands of others who are homeless in this country. And we're sending them, just this week, $3 billion more. Biden, Harris. And you'll love this. Ukrainian parliament votes to give themselves a raise thanks to U.S. taxpayers as country bans free speech and targets information terrorists. This is by Jim Hawk. The Ukrainian parliament has just voted to give themselves a raise. Yep, on your back. You happy about that? You pleased about that? I'm not. And what's coming, and what isn't occurring, and we're in the middle of, is a willful economic collapse because the United States has always been the speed bump to them implementing their New World Order. And the way they get their New World Order is collapsing the United States. And to do that, they have to collapse our economy. And they tried that for the past 3 years with COVID, and that didn't work out the way they thought. Because of the ingenuity of the American public. At least some of the American public. So, now they're doing this. You need to protect yourself. You need to have storable food and storable water. Protect yourself. Nobody from the government is going to come and help you. They're only going to make it worse. Go to Numanna, Numanna.com. For your financial well-being, financial insurance, hard assets, gold and silver. I have talked to you. We have brought Adriana Reed, the most honest person in the precious metals arena I know of. Camino, C-A-M-I-N-O, CaminoCompany.com. You got to protect yourself. And the other way you protect yourself is by getting information so you're ahead of the curve. And that's what we're here for you. And that's what Dave Janda is all about. It's uncensored. That's why we have the website. I don't care whatever the media platform is, it's censored. When I do the radio show, I have free reign. You can only go so far because if you go, otherwise the FCC's in there. Where it's uncensored, 100% uncensored, and puts you ahead of the curve. It's your insurance policy. Information is power. Why do you think the globalists, one of the first things they did is control the media? And it's as I've described it, the bought-off lamestream fake media, bought and paid for by the syndicate. Information is power, and that's why DaveJanda.com exists. It's your generator of freedom-based information. Storable food and water. Insurance policy, precious metals. Information, power. DaveJanda.com. I thank you for your time. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. We are there for you 24/7 at DaveJanda.com.